A very good evening to you all. Thank you for joining us for the 8 o'clock edition of the UBC News Tonight. My name is Wadulo Arnold, and I'm joined by Dorothy Namuyomba on sign language. It's going to be an hours-long bulletin, so do sit tight as we give you what the day has been like. Now, yesterday, or should I say last night, in President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni's State of the Nation address, he maintained that government projects of NADS, PDM, and Myoga can be a key turning point in the country's economy if well implemented. Now, according to the president, both ordinary and professors can be key beneficiaries. We have a detailed report on this story.
Those are two big ranchers. I have seen them somewhere in Europe.
In his address to the nation last night, the President took the country through the wealth creation agenda with living examples.
A group yaitwa inyafuniremo bagieta kweteiro portrait keeping eri ekusangiwa Mukakumiro district Mukakumiro town council kumsemwema ward group yakweteiro portrait keeping nkoranga treasurer we group eyo bwire buno mu group eyo abakafuna mu PDM tuli 11 baitu bwire buno bona bainohe enkoko ezibakuolekya kandi bafuniremu amagoba na nyowe mfuniremu ebirungi kuonga tingakora mu garosi
kola mu hoteli ibaita tonninyira nankubiriza abakyala bonna okuyingira PDM olw'ensonga PDM ina kyetwongeddeko kyamaanyi okubeera nga tukulaakulana kuba nayongerako bingi bwe nayingira PDM.
Now you can see how the PDM, which started recently, has helped these people. The first of all, the other girl, the first one was selling chicken, getting the ones which are 1 year old, 1 day old, or 1 week old, and fattening them and selling them. And she was, they didn't give their figures. Should encourage them to give figures, but you can see they are happy. Then,
And these were mainly success stories.
Senior citizen Oramwende Senina of Kakumiro West is extremely happy for the president to have such a great vision of the PDM. She received her 1 million shillings and immediately started a piggery project. Senina tells us a very successful and inspiring story. With the success she has so far registered, Senina dreams of expanding the project beyond what she is currently owning.
Kaleta muzeyi nanyi nayichiriza muzeyi ya bampa emiliyoni emwe kuruga mu banka beto mu banka tukasigayo emitwalo etaano twatunga kyenda n'etaano.
But we have also got the large. When it comes to large-scale agriculture, extensive, different from intensive agriculture, you can see the sugarcane growing, ranching, etc. Let's see those ones also.
The testimonies cut across all sectors of the money economy.
Esakaswam otomatitu betana muogoda korenga nu nyamat nara mami pedori araito bone mami bor ni nyama muogoda korenga nu nganyam.
Oh, the Banyankole say ezimbira katama tezibira zindi kulia, meaning that if one cow has got a swollen mouth, it may not graze, but the cows which are not sick will graze and eat. So those who listen to our advice, they are moving. They are moving.
With live examples of educated youth eating beef from the agriculture sector, the president wonders why men still lament for office jobs.
As you hear now, industrial products, $2.5 billion. This is totally new money, which was never there before. And employing almost 1 million people. The whole public service some few years ago when I checked was 480,000 people. So the people who are working in the factories now are 2 times almost the size of the people working for the government, including the soldiers, the policemen, the civil servants, the local government. The people working in the factories are now bigger in number, almost 2 times.
So the president warns those who want to destabilize the country under the disguise of bad living conditions.
The wealth creators are moving. Join us if you can, but if you can't, don't disturb.
And furthermore, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has also reiterated that government will not compensate anyone for invading gazetted wetlands. In the Saturday evening address, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni also asked Ugandans to stop blaming government for calamities arising from their own actions on the environment. More details in this report.
Why is it that the issue of the wetlands and the natural forests is even bigger than life and death, and it is a threat of extinction? That's what I'm telling you.
2 months ago, the National Environment Management Authority started an action to return the degraded wetlands. The restoration exercise commenced with the Lubigi wetland, Nabweru and Nansana, where several illegal developments and homesteads were brought down.
Attempts to evict people in Lubigi was in 2012, when major evictions were carried out in Ruvigi and resulted into successful eviction of the most famous witch doctor called Bemba Musota.
The exercise returned blame to NEMA for evicting illegal wetland encroachers.
The blame we are putting it to the government. If they had come out to tell us that this is the place for, rather the area for NEMA, no one has ever come even to show us that the map for NEMA is here and there.
The affected persons wanted compensation from NEMA, which is contrary to the Environmental Amendment Act.
We have satellite images that can show you what was there 10 years ago, what was there 20 years ago, what was there 30 years ago. So I challenge anybody who says he was there 60 years ago or 40 years ago to bring that evidence, and we compare with our evidence.
In the same line of wetland restoration, illegal sand miners were arrested in Mayabu, Jasi, Luera wetland and Luanjali wetland in Mukono for illegally dredging sand and filling of the wetland with Maram. NEMA also halted developments in Kazi, where one Ashraf of Delight Company had gone against the environmental protection rules by illegally filling part of the wetland with Maram.
The individual citizen has a responsibility to protect the environment where they are. So that's why it is a criminal offense for you to encroach.
In his address to the country last evening, President Yoweri Museveni retaliated that government will not compensate anyone for their illegalities of invading gazette wetlands.
It will moreover be another way of encouraging that indiscipline to continue. Because if we compensate this, then the others also will come. Then we compensate them. Then we have already compensated you by not prosecuting you. So you just go. That's a compensation.
Citing out the recent climate calamities of floods and mudslides, the president asked Ugandans to stop blaming government over calamities arising from their own actions. The president noted that government is incurring high costs of filtering water from the chemicals caused by the invasion of wetlands.
They would like the whole of Uganda to be like Karamoja. That's what they are working for.
Underscoring the wetland conservation, President Museveni wants all inhabitants of gazette wetlands to quit peacefully. He also noted that a government won't entertain any further alleged mistakes made on gazette areas like wetlands.
Live peacefully. You have done enough damage. We are not prosecuting you. It is an amnesty.
Wetlands are habitats for different aquatic species, terrestrial plants and animal species, and they are natural filtering systems for water. Susan Naonga reporting for ABC TV.
Security forces in Kampala North, in the areas of Kawempe, Wandegea, Komamboga and other areas, are set to meet the boda leadership to discuss measures to combat crime. Now, this is in response to the increase in robbery and theft involving boda riders in Kampala, as highlighted by videos circulating on social media.
The campaign to meet boda leaders began in Kawempe division in a meeting held at the boda offices. The meeting was attended by various people, including the area regional police commander, district police commander, and others. The chairman of the boda association in Kampala, Frank Maweje, who addressed the security forces, stated that those involved in criminal cases are not genuine boda riders, although sometimes conspire.
Koti yaffe mugimanyi, koti yaffe etuula mu kkubo, koti yaffe omulamuzi abeera waawo mu kkubo, egaba ekibonerezo kimu, tegaba beyiro, egaba kibonerezo kya kufa. Koti eyo emenya amateeka, tukimanyi emenya amateeka, ne nammwe abatemula bannayuganda emisana mumenya amateeka.
Maweje emphasized that the association has intensified operations by identifying and removing stages where boda cyclists are implicated.
Asazeewo nga tuwuliziganya n'ekitongole kya poliisi. Buli stage, buli mukulembeze wa stage gye ziri yonna twagala buli stage efune details zaayo tuzisharingeko n'ab'ebyokwerinda, ate tubaawule. Tutegeddeko waliwo bannabyabufuzi abagenda nga bakunga bavuzi ba boda nti baagala babeegatteko batambule ku lunaku olwokubiri ennaku z'omwezi nga 23 bagende ku palamenti mubawakanya nguzi. Kino nakyo tuyisa abakulembeze b'amasiteegi okubabuulira okusigala ku mirimu gyaffe. Ife tuli baddabo zedi ze tukolawo ze tulya, pikipiki ze tuvuga ezisinga zonna ziri ku looni, abaana ne school fees tetunaba kumumalayo.
Kawempe Traffic Police Commander Ramadhan Wakatuma says through community policing, boda riders promise to cooperate in fighting crime.
Akati mukakyatagala naye buli meeting gye ŋŋendamu kwedikwota abantu bankuba bagamba ababbi bonna bava Kawempe ate nga kituufu.
Kampala Metropolitan North Police Commander Moses Nanoka directed all Cs of all police posts in Kampala North to meet boda leaders in their areas.
Tutereeze stages zaffe eziri gazetted n'abantu abakolerako. Tetusobola kujjawo balubyanza nga tetwetereza ku ki lubyojo. Buno obumenyi bw'amateeka gy'omukulu yankubidde essaawa 8. Buno obumenyi bw'amateeka komambo. Naye ng'olabira ddala nti kati n'atandikirawa nga tulina abantu bakola ki b'okolagana nabo.
Benon Mukwaya, Jamil Sekaja, UBC News.
Now, today is Sunday, 21st of July 2024. Major roads around the Parliament of Uganda have been under strict watch and surveillance by security operatives who are probably preparing for the intended public march to the August House on Tuesday, 23rd of July 2024. However, the State Minister for Youth and Children Affairs, Balam Barugahara, has offered himself to be a bridge between the aggrieved Ugandans and the government, thus offering to meet them on Tuesday from Kololo.
On Sunday, 21st July 2024, security personnel were sighted camped and monitoring major streets surrounding the Parliament of Uganda for the entire day. This is in anticipation of the alleged public march to Parliament on Tuesday, 23rd July 2024.
So my appeal to you young people, kindly stay away from demonstration on 23rd as announced. Let us focus now on dialogue. Dialogue is the way to go. I know, young people, you have so many challenges. Nobody probably few think about what you feel. But some of you are patriotic, just like I am.
In the last night address to the nation, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni warned the framers of the march, referring to them as risk takers. And now Youth and Children Affairs Minister Dr. Balam Barugahara has offered himself as a messenger for the aggrieved Ugandans.
Let's not come on the street to burn tires. Let's not come on the street to destroy business. Let's not come on the street to
unruly groups that can attack parliament or that can attack government institutions, we can do it in a civil manner.
With the demonstrations planned for Tuesday, 23rd July, Balam will shift office to Kololo ceremonial grounds to receive whoever wants to speak to government.
I appeal to the young people, instead of coming to the street on Tuesday, still I can offer to drive to Kololo. I receive a document from your leaders. Do not come to the streets. Stay away from the streets. Make a document, I'll give it to the president, and you'll have a response as soon as you can. As soon as you can respond, you'll respond to your challenges, and then he can organize a face-to-face interaction with you. If he has met the traders, why can't he meet the young people? We are 78% of the population, so it is not a small percentage of the population as of recently. So the people below 45, let's protect our nation. This country is for me, is for you, is for everybody.
He notes that the sounds ignited by corruption should, however, not be silenced.
It is our duty as elders, and it is our duty as leaders, not to trash whatever you say, but to listen to you, digest what you are saying, and understand the reason why you are raising your concerns. There is no reason why we should destroy and kill our country. There is no reason why a young person should be arrested for demonstrating. There is no reason as why a young person should be beaten for demonstrating, but let's listen to the orders given by the people in power.
Robert Onyango, UBC News.
And in more news, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has commended Monsignor Expedito Magembe for his unwavering service he has rendered to the people of God for over 50 years of priestly service. In a speech read for him by the Prime Minister Robin Anabanja, President Museveni said that Magembe has been a torch-bearer for the gospel beyond the pulpit. Monsignor Expedito Magembe was celebrating his priestly golden jubilee, which is 50 years at Bukalango Prayer Center in Wakiso District.
Monsignor Magembe celebrated 50 years of priesthood, presided over by the Prime Minister Robin Anabanja. She represented President Museveni. Museveni says Monsignor Magembe's service is a credible ministry to humanity that deserves celebration in honor of God.
I wish to congratulate Monsignor Magembe for the unwavering service and call he has rendered to the people of God for 50 years, a major and rare milestone in priestly service.
Monsignor Magembe, through the Prime Minister Robin Anabanja, reminded the President to fulfill his pledge of 1.6 billion shillings to Mount Zion Bukalango Prayer Center to construct a new church and a sisters' convent.
President Batwa yatusubiza ebintu bingi nsubira biri kumpi kutandika ne maama ono bana wataddeyo n'atwogererayo.
President had earlier provided 1 billion shillings to kickstart the construction by the UPDF Engineering Brigade, but the works had stalled. The Prime Minister delivered 30 million shillings cash from the President to Monsignor Expedito Magembe for completion of St. Michael Convent for the Bridges of Lamb Sisters, founded by Monsignor Magembe over 30 years ago. Benon Mukwaya, Jingo Francis in Wakiso.
The Batwa living in Kanungu district in Chigezi region are complaining of marginalization and appeal to government for support on wealth creation programs. The Chief Executive Officer, Action for Batwa Empowerment Group, that is ABEG, Sylvia Kukunda, says that the Batwa have missed out on programs like Emyoga and the Parish Development Model. This was during the stakeholders meeting on the dissemination of the research findings on the impact of forced eviction of the Batwa on their livelihoods.
In 1991, government evicted the Bawa community who were living in forest areas of Bwindi, Mugahinga, Asian Semiliki National Forest Reserve.
The United Nations Declaration on the Rights of the Indigenous People is sufficient enough to seek for redress of the issues raised in the research findings about the impact of forced eviction on the livelihoods of the Batwa community in this country.
Of the Batwas from Kanungu district, Elias Sejitondo was affected after being evicted from his home.
Since the eviction trainings, the building, capacity building from different NGOs, and still like the stakeholders meeting. But if this one continue failing, I think the plan we shall be having it is to have a peaceful demonstration, because we also want our voices, we also want our rights to not to be violated, to be respected like how the other rights of other dominant communities are being respected.
The Chief Executive Officer of the Action for the Batwa Empowerment Group, Sylvia Kokunda, says their attempts for inclusion in these programs from the concerned parties have failed.
Don't benefit from the government programs, don't have access to clean water, no access to health services from the government, no access to education by the government. For the few that are educated, there are different NGOs and individuals that have helped us to educate us, but we have not got any service from the government since the eviction.
Some of the elders from the Batwa community explained the difficulties they are facing after eviction.
We are waiting our government etugulire itaka. Yamago kutugulira itaka erututemu na tutumenye government kaya tuyire mu ihamba yatugulira akataka natwe tukashiza.
After our eviction, we met many challenges. Well, discrimination was too much. Where we could go work for these local people. Sometimes we are paid, or other times we are not paid.
Kenneth Tanaba has reported.
Now, it is the norm for political parties to play a critical role in deepening democratic processes of a nation. But in Uganda, this narrative hangs in a balance. A section of veteran politicians describe the foundation of political parties as an avenue to broaden democratic dividends. Commercial politics, selfish interests, and hatred are some of the contents in the menu served in the political environment of Uganda. In the previous Chankwanzi retreat of ministers, government developed plans to initiate stringent laws to curb commercial politics. Daniel Mugoya reports.
What are we talking about?
In the public court, it is very difficult to avoid an argument that political parties contribute to the crisis of democratic governance of a developing country like Uganda. This is strongly based on the history of multi-party system of politics in Uganda.
So right from the beginning, the parties were never started on firm ground, and we never understood them. So you are asking, your question is basically the local people do not understand parties because they had their system of government through kingdoms. Yes.
So who changes the narrative and when was that?
It never changed. Okay. Because when we came in 1960, we had the same problem.
The Uganda People's Congress and the Democratic Party are pioneers of political parties defining the roots of party politics in Uganda. But the foundation of these pioneer parties was based on religious differences that set a precedence of division. Veteran politician Captain Francis Babu recalls.
And we came up with what it is until today. And by the way, I would like to say this, we've never understood parties. And until today, we are still pulling and pushing. We don't like each other. We use sectarian politics.
Captain, isn't it a strong statement when you say we've never understood
parties? We've
never.
Just show me which party is running. Show me. Show me which party is really running as a party.
What's the foundation of these parties from 1986?
Hatred. I don't like you, therefore I form a party. And what is the party for? If you look at their manifestos and what, they are virtually the same. What they are looking for is we must get in power and get rid of these people.
But why has it been hard to change the narrative and secure a stable democratic process?
So you cannot say that people who practiced multipartism more than 60 years ago, that they are not ready in this century. You see, even if Uganda was under one-party system like almost it is, because of the indiscipline of leaders, you still have the same problems that you have. I don't think it is parties that are shooting people on the street during elections, or that it is parties that are violating people's rights and stealing money.
the management of the transition from a movement system to a multi-party system of governance should have been discussed. We should have started that like in 1996. That would have given us about 8 years in which to prepare. Train leaders, prepare the country psychologically, but also through civic education. Prepare people's minds to know that, you know what, there's going to be competition for power. They'll start agreeing on the rules that will be laid down.
It is evident that to achieve a stable democratic process, the political system must have elements favoring a healthy political competition and popular participation. What is Uganda's position?
Oh yeah, I mean right from 2004 until now. The environment has been hostile to the practice of multi-party system of governance. And even as we speak, I can see the turbulence which a number of parties are in.
Yep.
And I know that the regime has a hand in most of those controversies which are going on, I know.
Parties, almost all of them, because you see, the first Political Parties and Organizations Act, I was in Parliament as a journalist. The trouble that it faced was that in the mind of Museveni, he had wanted the political parties to operate at their headquarters. It is only that the court said, no, you can't have a party that is headquarter-based. So Museveni reluctantly and publicly allowed that political parties can mobilize, people can associate because it's in our constitution, but practically is infringing on the rights of parties to associate, to mobilize. So for him, parties should only operate during elections.
There are a number of parties that continue to promote radicalism and extremism in our politics.
But Dr. Chris Baryomosi, the Minister for ICT and National Guidance, debunks claims that the NRM fuels infights in the opposition parties. Baryomosi says the NRM is open to work with everybody, irrespective of political dimension.
But the original idea and thinking of NRM is that we should embrace everybody so that everybody makes a contribution in the prosperity of this country. So even when we transited into a political organization, we don't find it a problem working with the members of other political parties. The intention is not to kill those political parties. The intention is to enable everybody to make a contribution.
Uganda is among the nations benefiting from both local and external financing of its democratic governance. Organizations like IPOD and civil society forums in line with the democratic governance have for many years championed the agenda of a healthy political environment. But the efforts are seemingly undermined, especially by corruption and weak institutions of governance. Veteran politician Wafula Ogutu narrates that the factors originate from a feeling that basic material needs must be met before the societies can practice democracy.
I pay tax. When an old woman buys salt, pays tax, that money is collected here, but it's not spent first and foremost on them. It is spent on a few people here. That is what we are fighting against.
Balancing human development and human freedom is also a concern which political players think has factored slow growth of democracy in Uganda.
The president is supposed to not only just guide the constitution and we eat and sleep safely. He's supposed to build the people, to build the people he rules into better people than he found them. People who first and foremost who must hold their leaders accountable, whereby you build a proper society which is fair to all. And the president should do that in various ways. How he conducts himself in leadership, the education he gives people, the way he relates to people, the way he wants people to relate. He's a father of the country.
The discussion of the commercialization of politics has been renewed by government as the recent Chankwanzi retreat, which featured ministers and other political players, discussed plans to introduce stringent laws to end the vice.
that has become a question of money and the attendant risk that comes with that you may miss getting good leaders, but you only get those who are able to pay off for the vote. One such a law is to cap the campaign finance. How much should a candidate be allowed to spend during elections?
Alliance for National Transformation political party boss, General Mugisha Muntu, says most leaders lack management skills and thus easily trapped in the commercial politics.
First, you have to have the skills within the leaders to detect what could become controversial within an organization. And then have the internal environment in which any issue under the sun can be discussed. And you build a consensus. To detect any, from any angle, any hostile action from outside to infiltrate you. Whether it's through the use of money, whether it is through use of disinformation to create instability within the leaders. You have to have a mechanism to detect that, and also you have to have the skills to diffuse it.
Last year, the Democratic Party president, Norbert Mao, publicly entered into a working relationship with the NRM party to foster democracy. This move, accompanied by many other scenarios where members of the opposition work with the ruling government, has been deemed as part of commercial politics.
Uncontrollable violence should be left to animals. Human beings should have dialogue.
So, the question is, why do we go into politics? We go into politics to make a contribution to make Uganda better. If you can make a contribution by joining hands with another political party, there should be no problem.
We can compare our visions. The vision of the NRM is very well stated. What is the vision of the others?
In addition, government wants the public to stop burdening leaders with disguised fundraising events, which in turn are exchanged for votes.
These Harambe activities, fundraising events, which sometimes border on extortionist activities, especially where leaders are expected to pay huge amounts of money which they do not earn, and that can tempt them into corruption tendencies and abuse of office.
Such discussions and progresses in the democratic governance are not coincidental as Uganda gears up for the forthcoming general elections in 2026.
And what has been the message from the other parties? It is Museveni again, Museveni must go, NRM must go. That cannot be an ideology. What if he goes? Yes, time will come, he will go. So will you round up your party and also go? Because he has gone.
Daniel Mugoya, UBC News.
Well, beautifully put, Daniel Mugoya. Thank you very much for that insightful report. Now, the Vice President, Major Retired Jessica Alupo, has also asked LC1 chairpersons to actively participate in the fight against teenage pregnancies to curb the increase of school dropouts in the country. Now, the Vice President made these remarks as she graced the PTA meeting of St. Elizabeth Girls Secondary School in Kidetok in Serere District.
And then the area member of parliament.
I was here in 1988 and we were about 200 or 300 as one alone. We were putting on navy blue skirts and we were very smart. And the whole school around that time was about 1,000 girls. I did not complete my S4 from here because of the insecurity that time. I want to also, against that background, to assure you, the people of Kidetok, people of Serere, people of Teso, that government has built enough capacity to guarantee the peace and security for all the people of Uganda. So you, the children, concentrate on your studies. Government now has the capacity to ensure that there is uninterrupted peace across the country and also beyond in our neighborhood. So I'm very glad to be here in my own school. Kidetok St. Elizabeth Senior Secondary School is one of the many USE schools across the country. The idea of establishing UPE and USE schools in the early 2000s was to ensure that education is accessible to all, and also to ensure that education, which is being discharged in these UPE and USE schools, is relevant. But most importantly, it is also of good quality. It is very clear that St. Elizabeth Girls Kidetok fits very well in line with those three principles of education service delivery in our country. And my being here also serves as a reminder to you. My being here is also a privilege to you to reawaken yourselves that as girl children, once you are dedicated and focused, you can achieve any dream of your interest. But most importantly, also that the government of NRM has provided a favorable environment for all the girl children and boy children to compete and serve the country in any capacity. So I hope that the girl children who are in St. Elizabeth, and also those who are not, should be able to look at some of us as role models, look at some of us as their mentors. I want also to call upon the patriots who are doing their parade there. Thank you very much for doing that drill for us. A clear demonstration that St. Elizabeth Girls Kidetok minds also about producing the cohorts which are nationalistic, which love Africa, which know that socioeconomic transformation is a priority, and also democracy. Thank you, girls. You are very smart in your yellow. And as students, one of the things that you should always remember is to be disciplined, hardworking, God-fearing, be dedicated to your work in class, but also when you are outside class, when you are at home. I call upon all of you also to have that discipline as students, to know that when you have a conflict in school, it should be resolved through dialogue, not strikes. Because when you do strike or demonstrate, there are so many counterproductive outcomes, including destruction of infrastructure, but also loss of time, sometimes even loss of life.
The Uganda National Oil Company, UNOC, is wholly owned by the government of Uganda and was established to safeguard and promote Uganda's commercial interests in the petroleum sector. UNOC has two subsidiaries, the Uganda Refinery Holding Company, URHC, which will hold a 40% stake in the 60,000 barrel per day refinery and manage the development of Kabalega Industrial Park, and the National Pipeline Company Limited, NPC, in charge of pipelines, storage, and downstream business ventures. This subsidiary holds 15% interest in the East African Crude Oil Pipeline, ECOP. ECOP is a 1,445-kilometer long pipeline that will transport crude oil through 10 districts in Uganda to the port of Tanga in Tanzania. UNOC is also actively engaged in crude oil exploration, development, and production activities, and its participation role includes a 15% stake in the Tilenga, Nwoya, and Bulisa, and Kingfisher development projects, Chikure. UNOC also holds the exploration license for Kasuruban Block in Hoima, Bulisa, and Masindi. UNOC currently owns and manages the Ginger Storage Terminal and will build a 320 million litre capacity terminal in MPG called the Kampala Storage Terminal. At UNOC, we're harnessing the potential of Uganda's petroleum resources, forging a sustainable future and preserving the natural beauty of Uganda. UNOC, your partner in Uganda's oil and gas industry.
upon a time, there lived identical twins who gave birth to beautiful princes and princesses.
Their mothers gave their babies' bodies a lot of care by applying on their skin with baby Junior jelly.
Though dried their chariots and everyone would admire their glowing skin. Fun fact, baby Junior prevents diaper rash, dry and sensitive skin.
Moms all over Africa love baby Junior jelly. Baby Junior's the skin. No more worries anymore. Baby Junior.
Baby Junior.
Gold. We all want it. That soft yellow glow with subdued sun in your hands. That precious polish of elegance. To hold it is one thing, but to taste it is everything else. Relish the satisfying taste of a beer, unmatched in quality, unmatched in consistency, and with 23 Global Gold Awards. A beer unmatched in gold.
Welcome back. You're still watching the UBC News Tonight, broadcasting live from Nile Avenue. We now take you into the world of business. Now, at least 413 graduates in fruit farming were passed out at the Delight Nwoya Agribusiness Institute, the manufacturers of Cheers Juice. The program that targeted women in underserved communities of Yumbe, Madiokolo, Telegu, and Adjumani was funded by the Private Sector Foundation through the Grow Fund, a World Bank project. I had a chance to interact with some of the stakeholders. Using the Adieri outdoor training model, 413 beneficiaries were taken through rigorous theoretical and practical fruit farming lessons at the Delight Farm Institute in Nwoya district. Each cohort of 100 beneficiaries were trained on how to turn fruit farming into a viable money-making business.
I'm so excited that we have touched many lives. People who used not to work and people who used not to believe in themselves. I'm talking about the women. And the men who used not to support their wives. We have trained them how they can empower themselves economically. When they reach at our farm, they see what we have managed to do. And they do, they master.
Beneficiaries were trained on nursery bed, seed practice, orchard establishment, marketing, and value addition. So now, they have skills on intercropping fruits with food crops to earn through varying seasons.
What have you? I want to come to learn this knowledge to teach my children to take away, kick away poverty.
I established Adieri's model. Adieri's model is where you do fruit farming as a business for cash crop, but you also do season crops where you get quick money. So we make a woman at least to have 1 acre of land, put fruits for cash crop, and put season crops for quick money. A woman can earn 4.8 million from the season crop in a year.
Various prominent guests have visited the 2,000-acre farm on which Delight Nwoya Agribusiness Institute is located. Irene Birungi Mugisha, the Chief Executive Officer of the CEO Presidential Forum, was the guest of honor at one of the cohort's graduation and sees immense potential for market linkages using simple technology.
But also talk about market access. These trainings are exposing these women to get to know that you need to work with the technological update. So in these trainings, they're allowed to be informed how the advanced technology is good for them. What are you using the phone that you have at home? You know, do you have to wait to go to the nearest trading center to know the market price? Or you can use your phone to be able to understand what is the market price, the weather changes, when are you in position to plant, when are you in position to harvest.
At his visit to the farm, France's ambassador to Uganda, Xavier Stika, was amazed at the social economic empowerment given to refugees.
I'm aware that the resources dedicated to refugees and host communities are scarce, but we need to invest more in the capacity for refugees and the host communities to grow, be more self-sustainable, as you say. and actually that will be also one of Uganda's assets.
Given the land ownership limitations for women in these communities, the women train with their husbands, who are officially requested for land user rights.
We beg for land user rights from the husband. We train the women, then they do for themselves. After having the land, they plant the fruits, they plant the season crops, and we train them from production up to marketing, up to value addition, then they start earning.
But also some of the examples given by their husbands saying, now, we know I can easily appreciate this woman to be in the community because they're adding value.
Empowering communities through agriculture is part of a greater purpose for Dr. Julian Adieri Omara and calls for more partnerships to realize impact. Wadulo Arnold for UPC News. The Minister of State for Trade, General Wilson Basumbadi, says that government is in its final stages of approving the establishment of a cooperative bank in the country. A 14-member committee has been also formed to analyze the documentation. The minister applauded the Korean Federation of the MG Community Credit Cooperative for the $90,000 towards the construction of the UFCC offices and organizing the National Cooperative Symposium. This was made during the National Cooperative Symposium organized by the Uganda Federation of Maugumgos Community Credit Cooperatives in Masaka City.
Hundreds of cooperatives gathered at the National Cooperative Symposium organized by Uganda Federation of Maugumgos Community Credit Cooperatives at the Maple Leaf Hotel in Masaka City. The symposium aimed to brainstorm solutions to challenges facing credit cooperatives. Officiating the event, Minister of State for Trade, General Wilson Basumbadi, announced that government is intensifying efforts to establish a cooperative bank.
The cooperative bank is on the desk. Cabinet discussed it. It was pushed to the ministry, and the ministry will form the 14-member committee to do a feasibility study, and I think once they are through with the comprehensive report, they will bring it back, and then we take it back to the cabinet for a final decision.
Minister of State for Cooperatives, Frederick Gumengobi, praised the Uganda Federation of Maugumgos Community Credit Cooperatives for promoting community-based financial institutions to combat financial exclusion and drive rural development.
Uganda Federation of the Community Credit Cooperative Limited has a very good example. They get money and give to a village. The village can use that money to extend electricity. Now, when they extend electricity, the people who pay for electricity will be paying back to the federation, the cooperative. They can build a more. So they are supplementing government efforts.
In her keynote address, Dr. Safi Chioge, Regional Director of the International Cooperative Alliance Africa Office, highlighted the role of cooperatives in achieving Uganda's Vision 2040 and the Sustainable Development Goals.
Fostering self-reliance, economic independence and prosperity. Please let's go back to our roots. Let's not create pseudo-cooperatives. We should teach the rights tenets of cooperatives where there is member economic participation.
Also present at the symposium was Professor Ezra Suruma, who called for the formation of a national cooperative institution to provide access to affordable and appropriate finance.
So the cooperative movement is strong enough to have influence on our politics and protect its interests.
Buganda Kingdom's second Prime Minister emphasized Buganda's commitment to promoting the cooperative movement as a key tool for economic empowerment.
One of the interventions the government can do is support apex bodies that support cooperative societies and unions and circles with capacity building so that they can appreciate governance, risk management, investment decisions, and the like.
Andrew Chepa, CEO of Uganda Federation of Malgum-Gos Community Credit Cooperatives, stated that Malgum-Gos is a vehicle for community-driven transformation and rural financial inclusion.
There is power in community. When we are together, when we are a team, we are able to solve our bigger problems without spending a lot of resources, because it makes a small contribution. So as UFCC, we are rebuilding community institutions, major community financial cooperatives, encouraging people to own, communities to own, not members, not individuals to own cooperatives. Because that trend has been taking place, we are encouraging communities to own cooperatives.
During the symposium, economists noted that the formation of the Uganda Federation of Malgum-Gos Community Credit Cooperatives plays a transformative role in promoting financial inclusion, improving rural livelihoods, and fostering sustainable development. Mary Namkose, Robert Boita, UBC News.
Now, furthermore, in business, youth have been urged to use technology to get themselves out of poverty and to develop their businesses. Now, this was during the youth training by the Forex Bulls, where young people were taken through on how to make money through Forex trading.
People from different parts of the country gathered at Bible House in Kampala for a training on the use of technology. The free training workshop aimed at helping youths to acquire skills for self-employment and was organized by Forex Bulls Academy.
How many of us here want to take training as a full-time career? All of us.
One of the trainers, Osman Samdin, says there are opportunities waiting for youth in Forex trading around the world.
This is access to free money. We call it free money because there is no anything required. You don't need a degree, you don't need a license or anything. And now, if I'm to bring this together, it doesn't have an age. This is a lifetime skill.
Benon Mutebi appealed to the government to reduce taxes on items like phones, computers and internet, since they are essential in Forex trading.
To know more what I've been not knowing, because we are dealing with the market economy, with the big economy, the world economy, and this economy is basically involved with making money on your phone or your computer at home. So this session has helped me come up with different solutions of how I'm going to be making my money.
Benon Mukwaya, Jamil Sekaja.
Namayingo District and leadership and residents have asked government to reconsider their decision of revoking of the operating license of the CN Sugar Factory. Authorities in Namayingo claim that the factory is their only source of income following the restrictions on fishing in the Lake Victoria, which has significantly impacted on their livelihoods. They made these remarks as they were inspecting the CN sugarcane plantations. And this follows the closure of the factory by the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives last month on accusations of failure to establish a nucleus estate.
Factory in Namayingo District. Namayingo District does not have any factory. And so, one of the things is that it is creating jobs, direct and indirect jobs.
I had gotten reports and briefs from other people that this company was a briefcase company that had nothing on ground. But I've been impressed this afternoon that when we did a tour around,
I visited 1,175 acres of sugarcane without empty land, which we are still preparing. You know, this is a private investment. There are some
stages. They are our local boys and girls who are already working. Around 500, they are working at the factory, at the construction, and then two, there are those who are in their farms, helping in it.
Amanya gange nze Namutebi Sharon nga nkolera wano wennyini Saka Kirombe oba Makindye. Empangula gye nawanguddemu ssente mbadde nga nkozesa mobile money nga nsindika school fees w'omwana ku ssomero. Okutegeera nti mpangudde nze mutima neegambye nti kambalinde bamale okujja ndyoke nzikirize nti mpangudde. Kyannyinza okubagamba nti si byabafere weewaawo abafere gye bali naye ennamba eri emu yokka era bw'eba ekukubidde omanya eyo si yabafere. Mpulira bulungi nnyo era ndi musanyufu nnyo. Naye MTN Mobile Money mbebaza nnyo mwebale nnyo mwebalire.
Together we're unstoppable.
Welcome back. You're still watching the UBC News Tonight. We now delve into the world of sports. Uganda Chess Federation has joined the rest of the world to celebrate the World Chess Day. Now, this has been done in several ways, as explained by the Federation President, Emmanuel Mwaka, who was on his way with Team Uganda to Burundi for the Africa Chess Championship.
At the World Chess Olympiad, today is the World Chess Day and celebrated by all the chess community around the world. Today they attempt to break the record for games played over the board and online, and persons all over the world are participating. Uganda Chess Federation has also had some tournaments online, and we can say we are proud to be celebrating the World Chess Day. Today's team, Uganda Chess Federation, dispatched the team to the Africa Amateur Chess Championship that is happening in Burundi starting the 21st to the 29th. And some of the notable players include Aruna Subuga, Parok Pauza, Kamoga Rajab. Some of the ladies include Takali Mile, an Olympian, and Mugide Safina, a silver medalist from last year. And we are proud to say that the team is out there to defend the championship, and hopefully the performance will be good.
The Federation of Uganda Football Associations, FUFA TV Cup, has entered the round of 32 with games across the country. We have some of the highlights.
The second edition of the FUFA TV Cup has entered the round of 32 with first leg action across the country. Namiryango College hosted St. Joseph's College Nagarama and won 2-1, while St. Edward Bukumi and Kabalega SS ended 1-1. In Buwama, St. Balikudembe Mitala Maria Senior Secondary School and Gombe Senior Secondary School also ended square, but the fact that sport is returning at the institution is good enough.
Sports is actually improving by leaps and bounds, I should say, because we have many disciplines in the school right now. It's not just football, there's volleyball, there's netball, we have dance sport, we are soon introducing others. And most importantly, the students are very, very interested and involved. As you can see today, we had a full pitch. This is a day and boarding school, but all day scholars came out to support.
The St. Joseph's College Laibi versus Gulu High game ended 2-2. Ngora High beat Nabomali High School 2-1, while Impanga SS and St. Leo's College Chegobe was goalless.
All of our president is buses. Sunday Latego. Shot here! And the rebound! Laibi College are back in it!
Kibuli SS continued to impress away from home with a 2-1 victory over Old Kampala. Kako and Masaka Senior Secondary School was a 1-1, and Jinja SS beat Kira College Butiki 2-1. Lango College beat Komboni College 1-0. Jinja College was 1-0 winners over Busoga College Mwiri, while St. Peter's College Toro has beaten Sebei College Tegeres in the Sunday early kickoff. The second leg of these games is planned for next weekend. The FUFA TV Cup is a fresh initiative from the Federation to allow most traditional schools provide holistic education.
Well, thank you very much for joining us for the 8 o'clock edition of the UBC News Tonight. Do join us later on at 10 p.m. for another bulletin. My name is Wadulo Arnold and Dorothy Namuyomba.